Okay, thank you, Paul. Now, one of the things that we unpacked for you this morning is one of the big stories. It's also a developing story, which is the Paris attack that has happened, it's transpired. 120 people confirmed dead in that attack. Let's quickly look at the helpline number, which is on your screen right now. A little bit earlier, we had a chat to international relations spokesperson Nelson Guete, and he was saying that there's a helpline that's been up and in effect, and you can use that number to make contact with any South Africans or anybody that is currently a family, friend, member, maybe they're living in that part of the world. And if you just want to make sure that your loved one is safe, you can use that number. It's 0123511,000. That's the Paris attack helpline number. It's 0123511,000, and you can use that number just to make sure that maybe your loved one, family member is safe and that they were not part of the going-ons that's been transpiring over the last couple of hours in Paris, France. And of course, our hearts, our minds, and our thoughts are with the French people, and I think it's been echoed by our president and leaders around the world. Now, one of South Africa's most unconventional art competitions, the SA Taxi Award, has opened its call for entries that will compete for the unique prize in the year 2016. South Africa's only mobile visual art and design crossover award offers young visual artists the opportunity to have their works displayed on the bodies of minibus taxis that fall under the SA Taxi Foundation. This year the theme is Route, and the entry process closes on the 15th of February. Joining me now to talk more about the competition and how it impacts one's career is Bev Butkow, who's joined me in studio. Bev, I got your surname right. It's not,
you did,
it's not Butkow, it's Butkow. Bev, talk to me about this competition. Did you even think about a competition that ultimately one of the prizes is to have your art, movable art?
I certainly didn't, but I love the idea of being able to take art and expose it to the ordinary average South African citizen who doesn't go into an art gallery and who isn't really exposed to art. And to bring art to people and to start the conversation that art evokes outside of a gallery is just absolutely wonderful.
How do one as an artist even begin to think in that space? Because traditionally art is supposed to be stationary. People move towards it, or people see it in their day-to-day activities, but it's a stationary piece. Here, as an artist, you have to create something that different people will interpret at different times, going through different things, on their way somewhere, and it's got to get a reaction.
I think you've said it in the most beautiful way that there is. It's actually to look at that movement that comes with the artwork moving on the taxi. The theme was destination, and my work is all about helping young people find their self-empowerment to create lives that are meaningful for themselves. That's really the focus of my art. So it really ties in with destination and moving forward, becoming self-empowered. But it's interesting that your definition of an artwork should be a flat piece of work, because if you find art now, it's very, very different and innovative. I don't think there's so few defined rules as to what art is today, and I think that's part of the fun of it. It's engaging people on so many different levels.
So you're one of the finalists, you get prize money. What do you then do with that money, or the exposure, or the opportunity?
Okay, so the prize money, we'll talk about that. It was like winning the lottery. I hadn't banked on it, I hadn't expected it, and I had this windfall. And I had to decide what to do with it. And it's, do you put it in your bond and expunge debt? Do you use it to finance your career? Do you spend it on a holiday? I mean, what do you do with it? And I decided that the most meaningful thing that I could do with my prize money was to donate it as bursaries. So I've taken two girls who are finishing matric this year who would not have an opportunity otherwise to get some kind of education or skills, and to enable them to earn some income out of that bursary.
Many could argue that in many ways what you've done is kind of what the vision of the competition is, that it really impacts people's lives and that it fundamentally opens up opportunities. Here you've passed on that opportunity.
Well, that's exactly what I hope my art is about in general. To sit in a studio and make pretty pictures is a bit meaningless for me, but to take it that step forward where you actually are impacting on people's lives, where you're opening up conversations about issues that are complex to talk about and difficult to talk about, that's the purpose of art. And I said to you earlier, we were chatting, to have these horrible attacks in Paris and then we're talking about art almost seems like insignificant, but actually art opens up those conversations and allows us to address these things.
Would you I mean, you're quite an experienced artist, but there was something about this competition that grabbed you. What was it?
Sorry, I just have to say I'm experienced in life because I'm not so young anymore.
Okay.
I spent 15 years in the corporate world. I'm a chartered accountant. I've only been an artist for 4 years maybe. So it's quite a new career for me. And the competition was appealing because you had to do use two different skills. The first is to create an artwork that met the theme and the concept. And the second one was then to redesign it onto a taxi. And I just loved that crossover of skills that I could actually use both of them and try use my brain in a different way to learn a new skill.
Babe, we're asking a big question this morning. And we're asking everybody to think about it, but it's our question of the day. How do we as a globe collectively deal with terrorism? I don't know if it's something you've talked about, but it's a big question. I want to throw it at you very quickly.
Sure, I've been sitting here and listening to you and thinking about how do we, I mean, it's the most horrific thing to see innocent people being killed by evil. And the world, I think, is at a place that's a very difficult place, because if we don't stand up and fight this bully, we're in trouble. But unfortunately, when you fight, then you do all the things that you didn't want to do in the first place. So I think it's a very, very difficult thing, but I don't believe that the structures of the world that are based on good and kindness and helping other people can be allowed to be dissipated the way they are being.
Butkow, thank you very much for joining. Butkow, thank you for joining us here in studio. She's one of the finalists of the SA Taxi Foundation and has really done some amazing stuff with the prize money, and has actually created opportunities for other people as well. Okay.